Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Get ready for truth bombs, belly laughs, and the kind of accent that turns car into a two-syllable adventure. Here's your host, Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It is the 21st of July, 2025. And man, what a week it's been. If you didn't catch it, Jersey Joe and I did a special on Saturday night. Hey, look at that. Mission Ready Men in the chat room and first comment of the night behind me. Good to have you here, Mission Ready Men. Yeah, it was good. We talked about just some of the things I'm going to talk about tonight. The release by DNI Gabbard, and we just went into a whole bunch of other stuff. It was kind of a just conversational story. Conversational show, if you will, after the first hour. But if you get a chance to check that out, it's on the SHR Media YouTube channel, which you can like and subscribe to the SHR Media YouTube channel if you want. And hey, if you're enjoying the show, you can send us a couple bucks. You can do super chats now. You can do the gift. You can do all that good stuff. So feel free if you're so inclined. You can also like and subscribe and any other place that you see us as well, and we'd appreciate that. Special shout out to KLRN Radio for carrying me in simulcast this evening. Let's get right into it. So I was going to start off with the Hunter Biden interview. Whoo, boy, I don't know. I mean, look, he says he's given up narcotics. I don't know. I will get to that, though. But just as I was coming on the air, and this is the problem with doing a show where you plan it through the day and you kind of set up exactly what you want to talk about. You format it out. I got an outline all typed out and ready to go. You get all this stuff squared away and all set up and ready to go. And then all of a sudden something pops in front of you that you don't have time to read, but the headline alone drives you nuts. This is from the New Yorker. If it's still around, believe it or not. The article is titled, "Was the American Revolution Such a Good Idea?" And the subtitling is, "We Could Have Been Canada." And if you don't believe that media hates you, all you have to do is look at what they're saying. They put it in black and white. It's all the time. They hate you. They hate that you want to live. They hate how you want to live. They hate the fact that you want your freedoms. They hate all of this. They think the government should control every aspect of your life. They think there shouldn't be any borders, hot and cold running drugs, as BZ says, all of the above. Everything that this country stands for and has for hundreds of years now, 249 years, the individual liberty, the right to self-defense, all of that. They just cannot stand it, and they hate you for wanting it. They hate you because you want people removed from this country that don't belong. They hate you for not supporting hiring people because of their paint color. They hate you for not saying that men can have babies. They hate all of that. And they're not afraid to tell you. And the fact that there are so many people in this country that drink that narrative down it's nauseating. I'm not even going to lie. It is absolutely nauseating. So yeah, if you want to be Canada so bad, if you want to be Denmark, if you want to be all of these other countries who have this very socialist approach to life, all you have to do is move. It's not hard. But like I said the other night with Joe, the socialists in this country, they call themselves democratic socialists, but they're socialists and they'll be communists if they're forced to do it. They want to absolutely consume everything that this country's built, consume all of its resources. They want to consume all of your resources via taxes. And they want to destroy everything that's good about this country and make us into a third world country. They don't realize that that's what's going to happen. Some of them do. But so many of them think that they're so self-righteous and so on board and woke and whatever you want to call it, that they're going to be in the upper echelon. They're not going to be in the fields working the forced job you and I would be working. They think they're going to be important and that they're because of that they'll live well and you'll get what you need to survive. You'll be given what you need to survive. Doesn't that just sound wonderful? Doesn't that sound just amazing that you'll be provided what you need because government knows what you need. That's what they believe. Government knows what you believe and you're too fucking stupid to figure it out on your own. It's and it's being said so, it used to be subtle and quiet and they don't even mask it. It's insane to me. But we're not gonna I'm not gonna harp on that all night because I was already angry about that twice today. I don't need to be angry about a third time. I want to play a little fun and enjoy this. So if you think Joe Biden took losing bad, wait till you hear how how Hunter Biden took it. Now, for those of you who don't know, and maybe you've been living under a rock, Hunter Biden is the crack using son of former President Joe Biden, who also slept with his brother's wife after he passed away. He's had cocaine and an ID found in a rent-a-car that was abandoned near the Mexican border. He threw away a gun one time, and then they found this laptop that we all knew was real, but then the Democrats and the Obama administration said it wasn't real, and it's just Russian disinformation that was filled with, from what we know, him using narcotics, abusing women, prostitutes, and potentially images depicting young people in a horrific way. And I won't say the other one because I don't want to get demonetized. And that's just kind of like the beginning. That doesn't include the grandchild that the Bidens never acknowledged until it became an issue, and then they like kind of acknowledged it but didn't. It doesn't include the money that was laundered to him from Democratic donors, big money donors via his art, which was just him with the straw and some paint, and they sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. All of a sudden, he's this amazing artist, right? It doesn't include the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he didn't pay for his Malibu rental home. I believe it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. There was money owed there. Apparently, he's like now not doing well financially. And some people think after watching this interview, and it was like a 3-hour long rambling interview. We're not going to play the whole thing because I don't have the stomach for it. Some people walked away saying, oh, he's going to run. And I said, please, please, please. I don't ask a lot. I don't ask a lot in this world. But if Hunter Biden could run for some office, that would be unbelievable. Just for the comedy aspect of it. Just for the absolute, I mean, wait till you see this video. This dude's out of his fucking mind. It was, maybe he was super medicated when he was around the White House, or he knew he had to hold it together when he was around the White House. Holy moly.
For someone, am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance? And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals?
Okay, that's just a starter. And that's a warm up to some of the lunacy that but he's talking about the first and foremost, he sounds a lot like the old man when the old man was young, if you don't notice that. His mannerisms and everything are very much like the old man. And he's talking about illegal immigration. This is why I think he's running for it. If you see it, he's hitting on all the big topics, right? That this isn't about him. This is about power. He's already hitting that first notch of, oh, how, fuck you if you think they shouldn't be here. Oh no, it is vaguely racist. Mission Ready Men says in the chat, sounds vaguely racist. Yeah. No, this is what we've been saying. I mean, you've been saying it, I've been saying it for a long time. When it comes to immigration, the amount of pro-slavery comments, pro-modern slavery comments is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Who's going to pick your vegetables? Who cleans your room? Who cleans up after you? Who wipes up the hooker's blood off the floor when you're done with them in a whole bunch of crack pipe? The Mexicans. So stop being mad at them for being here. It's unbelievable. So, oh man. And then I don't remember where this was. I watched a lot of the interview. I don't remember where this was in the interview, but he's talking about the Democratic Party. And you want to talk here? It's angry. I mean, boy, is it angry. And listen to the people he attacks.
Opinions, but fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. Or not to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times?
Okay. So he's going after Clooney because of the things that Clooney said more recently about Biden's mental acuity. But did you hear what he said when he made the knock about Obama? He didn't accidentally bring up Obama's name. That wasn't a fit of rage. That was intentional. There has been, and we talked about it on here, and other media hosts have talked about it too. There had been a fight between the Bidens and the Obamas. I'm sorry, yeah, the Bidens and the Obamas for a long time. I don't know when it started because allegedly they were super close when Joe was the VP and Barack was in charge. I'm guessing it probably started when Joe didn't run right after. When Joe was told not to run right after Hillary, and then when he got into office, I'm guessing that Jill was not allowing him to listen to anybody from the Obama administration at first. I think they eventually worked their way in. But if you think that everything's hunky-dory between the Bidens and the Obamas, that comment right there, that was directed at Obama. That was not necessarily directed at Clooney. But let's continue.
On me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama.
So here he goes again. Axelrod and Carville, right? The two, whether you like them or not, but the two senior advisors in the Democratic Party and had been for years. And yeah, Axelrod, I think, is kind of a nobody, but Carville is maybe a little old and senile now. I don't know. He's a little less in control, which is funny considering he's the Raging Cajun, but he's more bombastic now and less coordinated than he used to be. So now he's blaming them, right? Things that they said ruined his dad's chances. It's not that Joe was out of his mind. And let me get this 100% out there. This rant is not about Joe Biden being treated poorly. This rant is that now Hunter Biden no longer has the access to as many things to make free money and power that he once had. That's what this is. This is a petulant child who is mad that the silver spoon was ripped out of his mouth and shoved up his ass. 80% of that was done by Hunter Biden, because no matter what happened with Joe, if Hunter wasn't such a fuck up and he played his cards right, like the Bush girls, like the Obama girls, and you stay under the radar and just reap the benefits and keep going, nobody would say shit. But when you throw your gun away, when your rent-a-car is found with coke and an ID down near the Mexican border, when you start putting yourself on the radar politically and you turn yourself into political fodder for your father's political enemies, this is what happens to you. This is what happens to you. So he's not mad on Joe's behalf. He's saying he's mad on Joe's behalf, but he's not. He's mad on his behalf because he's losing out.
And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod and David Plouffe and all of these guys and the Pod Save America guys who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita
the
Dunns
ironic
of the world,
part right there is he has the audacity to turn around and talk about people making money off of working for the Obama administration when his entire existence was making money off of his father's name. It's so unbelievably unhinged and hypocritical. It's not even funny.
$50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times.
There's a
how
problem.
to pass more legislation than any president in history.
There's a
how
problem.
to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Garnering more votes than anyone has ever run. I don't know if that's the hill you want to die on right there, Hunter. And even this guy, I don't know who this is. This is this comes from Channel 5, I believe it's called. I'll look it up really quick. Because I want to give him credit. Yeah, Channel 5 is the name of the YouTube channel that this interview is on. And you can tell by this well-established looking gentleman right here that it's a very serious show.
Not to mention, who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper.
Now he's going after Jake Tapper.
Well, I don't know. For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial.
His ratings went to shit because, as I said on this show before, Jake Tapper took the beating for the rest of the press with Original Sin. The press had to acknowledge at some point, because America was so pissed off, they had to acknowledge that there was a cover-up. They don't acknowledge they were part of it, the media, but the people in the White House were covering for Joe's mental acuity being that of a snail. And that's Jake Tapper. I mean, look, as far as a team player goes on the left, Jake Tapper is an amazing socialist leftist sympathizing team player because he's taken that hit. His numbers were better before the book. His numbers were better when he was just repeating what the DNC told him to repeat. But he and whoever helped him write that book had enough insight to go, yeah, if we don't try to rewrite history a little bit and put something in paper saying that we knew better, blah, 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 then we are going to take it even harder to the chin and nobody's ever going to believe us. So we absolutely have to acknowledge it. That's why Jake Tapper's numbers and the 20% of the people who are super uber progressive socialist Democrats in this country who would have bought that book went nuts, went absolutely nuts. Let's see. Cosmic Bards in the chat, Phantoms in the chat. Thank you both for being here. Let's finish the last 7 seconds of this video, and then we'll move on to the next one because this is just amazing.
For it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with. That the jerk
Opinions.
I love him accusing anybody of a money grab. That is like me accusing other people of being fat in a very judgmental way versus the way I do it now, where I'm like, I'm fat too. We're cool. Right. That's amazing with Hunter here. Because again, his whole career, everything he's ever put out there has been a grift. His whole life is a grift. I mean, you look at Ukraine, you look at the artwork, you look at all of that stuff. It's a grift. That's all Hunter Biden is. He's a grifter. I said it before and I'll say it again. You look at him and you look at his brother Bo. At least his brother Bo served honorably and seemed like a decent human being. Hunter has never, ever seemed like a decent human being. The first time you ever heard about Hunter Biden, if I'm not mistaken, is when he was kicked out of the military for cocaine. Am I wrong? I could be wrong, but I don't believe I am. I think that was the first time everyone realized, oh, Joe's kid might be a little screwy. And guess what? He is. And you know he is because listen to what he says.
Crack cocaine.
Listen to what he says about crack cocaine.
Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. Does crack cocaine?
Okay. I don't believe that's edited. He said that. If it's edited, somebody please tell me it's edited. But I did some research and I found it on different websites, and it's authentic. Crack doesn't change who you are. So everything on his laptop, per his logic, was him. So banging the hookers, the physical abuse, yada yada yada, throwing the gun away. That's all just him. The crack was just a tag along. It was just, a little pump to get through the night, but that's just who I am as a person. Great. Is crack is safer than alcohol? Oh, probably. Yeah, cocaine's always safer than other drugs. I know drugs are drugs are drugs, and we have different levels of drugs, but look, Mission Ready Men's post said he's still doing crack. I have every reason to believe so. This is not the conversational topics that somebody who has recovered from an addiction has. Because usually they talk about the mistakes that they made and choosing a bad addiction and how that addiction changed them and how that addiction is horrible. That's usually how former recovered addicts speak. Legitimate recovered addicts speak. They acknowledge it. They identify what it is. They take ownership of it. They apologize for it. And they speak poorly of whatever it was. You want to see that? Go look at Alice Cooper. Talk about his fight with alcohol. Go look. There's so many people out there saying that crack is probably safer than alcohol and it doesn't change who you are is not the words of a recovered addict. Cosmic Bard posted, Hunter Biden was discharged from the U.S. Navy in February 2014 after testing positive for cocaine during a urinalysis conducted in 2013, shortly after he was commissioned as an ensign. Yeah, so he just got out of OCS, and the first thing he did is went and blow lines. So he started off really well. So I encourage you to go watch it. Go to Channel 5, watch the whole thing. It's like 3 hours because, why wouldn't it be? Just a rambling coke addict. That's for 3 hours. That sounds about right. That whole thing was him being mad. And all of those videos, it's just him being mad he lost the access he once had and he was exposed for who he really was. And now it's hurting him financially. Remember, his lawyer, the friend, I forget the guy's name, fronted a shit ton of money for his different cases. Remember that. I just want you to remember that. He has never successfully done anything by himself. His dad got him into college. His dad got him into the Navy. His dad got him into the I'm trying to remember the name of the gas company in the Ukraine. It's not Cylindra. The reason he sold all that artwork was because they were donors to his dad. He's never done anything legitimate in his entire life. At all, period. End of story. But I'll tell you something right now. I hope he runs. God, do I hope he runs. I miss that Biden machismo saying absolutely batshit crazy stuff on a regular basis. I miss it. Seriously, that taps my vein. I just want to speak to a language that Hunter can understand. That's the bump I need to get through the week would be him doing campaign stops and speeches, and that would just be absolutely chef's kiss on the entire Biden legacy. Oh, God, I hope it happens. A couple minutes before the break. I don't know if you heard this. Comey's daughter was shit-canned from the Department of Justice as a prosecutor. And she is the one who is allegedly had her hands in the Epstein list prior to the current administration's coming in. Comey's daughter, Burisma. Thank you, Mission Ready Men, for reminding me what the Ukrainian gas company was, Burisma. But so she got shit canned, and rightfully so, I think, just based on what I've read and everything. But that's not the story here. The story is this man coming out and putting out this video about how everybody is wrong but me.
The reservoir is in grave danger right now. Trump and the hacks who lead the Department of Justice are hammering at the dam day after day, trying to turn it into just another gold leaf covered Trump subsidiary. Our best hope is that good people will stay and do what Maureen asked.
Let me translate a little bit for you. Things are getting exposed that were never supposed to be exposed in the swamp. The actual occurrences that happened behind closed doors and behind FISA warrants and special investigations and yada, 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 are now being put into the light, which is, by the way, sunlight's the best disinfectant. Also, a bunch of stuff is about to come out from me or about me and all the dirty things that I did while I was being the FBI guy. And I'm going to shit all over all of that to make it look like the people who are there telling you what happened are the problem. But I digress. Let's continue.
Have the courage to do the right thing always.
Do the right thing always. That's a message. Keep doing your little shit behind closed doors. Try not to get caught and run your little operations like we were doing when I was in charge. That's what that means.
You may get fired for acting that way.
You may get prosecuted, but I will sacrifice your well-being in order to protect all of our secrets.
But there's honor in that.
But the party will hold you high when the commissar comes around.
And nothing but disgrace for those who don't stand up.
Anyone who is not with us is against us. I'm really good at this translation.
There are going to be hard weeks in the Trump era. And
they're going to put a lot of pressure on you, but keep doing these little projects that we started before I left.
This was one for my family. But there are plenty of good people still in the department committed to doing things the right way.
There is a ton of people who believe in the swamp and doing things the dirtiest way possible behind closed doors that absolutely go against everything our Constitution stands for. And I know you people still are out there and haven't been discovered, but I know you're there and I appreciate you.
Committed to the rule of law.
Committed to making sure that things aren't exposed and hidden.
For them, because of them, keep the faith.
Because of them, das vidanya. Or something like that. I didn't catch what the end said at the end. So yeah, that was James Comey. If that is not, we always hear about coded messages in public. We always hear like, oh, he had two fingers up when he was saying this, or he touched his hat 3 times when he was saying that. And that's a code because in 1972, we got a code book, blah, 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 blah. This is a coded message. This is absolutely a coded message. The dark government shit, the second government shit, all that stuff we did behind closed doors, spying on Americans, digging up dirt against political adversaries, doing whatever you can to make sure that we retain power, keep doing it. That's what Comey just said there. If that doesn't frighten you, I don't know what should. That alone scared me when I saw that. I'm like, holy shit. This is like a secret message. Like there's sleeper cells who just like, must violate people's rights. Beep, boop. Like, it's infuriating. Just go the fuck away. If you're smart, just go the fuck away. Most normal people wouldn't have said shit unless you have a message to deliver. And clearly he did. And that's as clear as the message on the beach was, where the seashells that he put together, he found said 8647. Does it all make sense now? Does it all make sense about just how horrible Democrats are, how evil Democrats are? All of the things that they accuse conservatives and Republicans of doing, they are at the forefront of it. And they are absolutely writing the book on how to do it. We'll be back.
Welcome to River of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a sharp wit and clear discussion. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a refreshing dose of reality as we fearlessly tackle the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com to discover where you can catch River of Common Sense in action. He's here to amplify your inner logic. He may not always be polite, he may not always be refined, but one thing's for sure, he always tells it like it is.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SHR Media Network. This is the Edge of Liberty. I am Sean, your host. And yes, I unfortunately always look like this. There's nothing I can do to change it for I would. So last Friday, in a weird Friday dump, which I don't necessarily agree with the timing of it. I'm happy with what was dumped. But the timing on a Friday, anytime something's dumped on a Friday, it just does not get the recognition that it deserves. And I think this deserves a massive amount of recognition. So DNI Gabbard dropped a ton of documents and a referral to the DOJ, submitted a referral to the Department of Justice accusing senior Obama administration officials of orchestrating a treasonous conspiracy aimed at undermining Trump's 2016 win. Over 100 pages were declassified. Now, before I get into all of that, I want to explain to you what I believe the goal of the Obama administration. They already lost the election. All of the BS that they cooked up, I should say, didn't work. Everybody, for the most part, saw through the Steele dossier. Everybody knew how much BS trash was being thrown at them. The country saw enough. We were wise enough to be able to get to the next step, despite the fact that we know they never really believed in the Steele dossier, the intelligence community. They used it, but they didn't believe on it. They didn't think any part of that was legitimate. They absolutely knew that they were bugging Trump's office and Trump Tower. They tried to honeypot, what's his name there, the advisor. All of these different things. And when the Hunter Biden laptop, I should say, came out, they knew it was fake. Even though all those, 92 security experts signed off that it was Russian information, they already knew it was fake. And they knew that because in October I believe it was October 2016, they had a meeting in which they saw no Russian meddling that amounted to anything. There's always the online BS, and you see it on X all the time, where you have the Russian chatters who are trying to sway people's opinions, but no actual meaningful interference. They didn't hack anything. They didn't find any of that, and they went to Obama with that. And on December 9th, 2016, the meeting was attended by Obama, Clapper, FBI Director McCabe, or Deputy Director, CIA Director Brennan, and others, which they allegedly instructed investigation into Russian election meddling that now leaned heavily on the Steele dossier. The subsequent open intelligence assessments pushed by the FBI and political leaders prominently incorporated elements of the Steele dossier despite its unverified and politically funded nature. Remember, Hillary, who was running against Trump, funded the Steele dossier. This is the same elements and groups who tricked Adam Schiff into thinking that they had videos of Donald Trump being urinated on by a Russian prostitute. This was the smoking gun that Adam Schiff kept saying that he had that was going to take down Trump. He knew it was BS because they knew it was BS. This dossier, this reportedly played a role in shaping the narrative that Putin ordered an influence campaign to favor Trump, which just historically, if you look back, is a ridiculously dumb idea, because Hillary Clinton was the one who did the reset button and sold the Uranium One deal, a shitload of uranium, to Russia. Putin would have done much better under Clinton, and as much as he is an evil, terrible, asshole human being, Putin, he's not stupid. He was not going to push for the guy who hadn't, even just for his ego alone, wouldn't let Putin win. So that whole thing was bunk from the beginning. A whistleblower from the ODNI reportedly confirmed that internal pressure was applied to adjust intelligence conclusions, even without evidence of Russians tampering with vote counts. I'll repeat that again. A whistleblower from the Office of ODNI, Office of Director of National Intelligence, reportedly confirmed that internal pressure was applied to adjust intelligence conclusions, even without evidence of Russian tampering with vote counts. In other words, even though you don't see it, you are going to draw to the conclusion that it's happening. I believe we call that gaslighting, lying, creating a false narrative. There are a million different things. Gabbard's release highlighted accusations against former DNI Clapper, CIA Director Brennan. Man, all these people who really don't like Trump. Comey, who's the FBI director we just talked about. Susan. By the way, did anyone else notice that, like, I tied Hunter? All the stories are tying together in this, just so you know. They're all kind of tying together. Sorry. FBI Director Comey, Susan Rice, John Kerry, who hates Trump, Andrew McCabe, who is not an absolute Trump favorite either, among others. Allegedly, they used intelligence to generate a false conclusion narrative. In other words, they had a meeting with Obama, I believe it was the one in October, where they went in and they said to him, hey, we're not seeing anything. And Obama said, hey, come back in 2 months and give me an update. Wink. Because he can't say no, dig up shit. Because all those meetings are recorded in one way or another. So he said, oh, okay, come back December 9th. We'll see what's going on then. This is after the election and before Trump was installed. But Trump was already telling everybody that this was coming along. At this point in 2016, Trump admitted that he was, admitted that he knew he was being surveilled, that the Steele dossier was run by the Clinton campaign. All this stuff he was already talking about. What were they trying to do? They were trying to get the election thrown out. They were trying to influence the electors, or the inauguration, rather, of Trump. And maybe to the point that people would have gotten mad enough and taken to the streets to stop it because the Russians interfered so much. And then Hillary could have been installed. That's my theory. They wanted their own version of what happened on January 6th, except they were not going to tell them to protest peacefully. They were not going to tell them to go home. No, they were going to respond to what the people wanted. This was a giant psyop. We knew it. We were talking about it. This isn't fresh information, but the fact that it's documented is what's amazing. Oh, I just scrolled all the way down to the bottom of my notes. Pardon me. Let's see. So, Gabbard released claims that Obama-era officials suppressed early benign intelligence. They held the meeting, directed the narrative using the Steele dossier to produce new intelligence. You know, if you have to produce intelligence, that's not, you're supposed to gather intelligence, not produce it. To produce something is to create. When it comes to intelligence, you're supposed to gather. Produce a new intelligence assessment asserting Russia meddled, supposedly designed to aid Trump, all of which she refers to as a coordinated conspiracy. No, that's 100% what it was. I mean, you look at how many people in political office or used to be in political offices or political appointees are kind of flipping shit right now. And it's obvious why. Because if this referral and it's all exposed, you could have some pretty big name people being perp walked legitimately. Now, I am not holding my breath that that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to take it that far. I think they just want people to know, to look out for it in the future. I wish they would prosecute. Look, the only way you're going to change behavior in Washington, D.C. is by prosecuting those who deserve it one way or the other. And I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. If they deserve to be prosecuted, they deserve to be prosecuted. This was a soft coup. That was the statement I said over and over and over again leading up to Trump's inauguration in 2016. Soft coup, soft coup, soft coup. They're doing everything they can to try to overthrow him. Soft coup. And that's exactly what this was. It wasn't a violent coup. No, because they can't do that. They knew that would just backfire. You can't violently have a coup with the military or federal agents or whatever, remove the president, arrest him, whatever. Try to cook up some conspiracy. We have seen that enough that the CIA has created those situations in other country that everybody would have called bullshit. So you do the soft coup quietly behind closed doors. You use a very a person who's known to be very well mannered and thought out, i.e., Barack Obama, to have the conversation. Well, maybe now we can't do the inauguration and we have to hold it for a little bit and blah 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 blah, and they'll dig up some constitutional thing, yada yada yada. That was the goal. The goal was to keep him from taking office. Why? Because they were afraid of what he would find out if they did. I think the Democrats under the Obama administration, the first and the second, were so convinced that they would never lose again, even after the midterm shellacking. I think they were so high on their own product that all the shit that they were doing that was dirty and behind closed doors, and not just with the Trump administration coming in, not just their cooked up allegations against Trump, which were cooked up. All the other shit, Crossfire, Fast and the Furious, the drone strikes, they're giving money to Iran. I don't think they ever really knew, ever really were convinced that all of that would be found out. I think they really thought they were going to ride this into the sunset for dozens of years. They really thought that people loved Obama that much that anybody who came behind him would ride his coattails. Cheater in the chat says it really is talking about the DNI release. much like the Nazis who basically recorded everything, included glory details, kind of makes you think. It does make you think. Look, we know, and not just in this country, I think all over the world, the people who do not media relations now, it's a good way of putting it. Because I don't want to put it the wrong way and be over the top accusatory, because not all of them are the propaganda people, I guess the best way of putting it. And it's going to sound bad, but just everyone who works in that industry for each political campaign all over the world, including this country and beyond, still learned from Goebbels, who learned from Bernays. It actually started in America with Bernays under the Woodrow Wilson administration. How to manipulate people. Why do you think they got rid of, or they added, I should say, the direct election of senators? Because they knew the people could be more easily swayed than state governments who are protecting the state's interests. The people are going to vote for the senator the same way that they're going to vote for the representative. They knew that. So they changed it. That's what they did. Bernays wrote the book on it. Goebbels took it and fine-tuned it. And everybody who works now in all of these campaigns all over the world have learned a thing or two from it. They took it a step further. They learned that even if you can't beat them, then you find a way to take them down, which also came out of Goebbels, because that's what the Nazis were doing. That's how they came to power in Germany. They were not winning, so they found ways of taking down their political opponents, all leading up to the Night of the Long Knives. You can, whatever parallels you want to take from that, you're more than welcome to. Draw your own conclusion. You're all intelligent people. I'm just telling you, it's the information's out there. If you have a chance to go read through, do it. There's a lot more information in there. I'm going to move to the next story. Because this is another story with a lot of information. I am not going to get to all of it tonight. I will tell you that right now. But in other information dump coming out of the Director of National Intelligence Office was 230,000 pages released by the FBI and CIA. I apologize. I said DNI. Files on MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. And there was no that I've seen. And again, I didn't go through all 230,000 pages. So don't be like, oh, on page 197,420, it says X, Y, and Z. From the scans, from using AI to kind of look for stuff, I did spend a lot of time doing that. There was no major epiphanies. There was a lot of dirty pool involved in the entire investigation, but we already knew that. We already knew people were doing things that they weren't supposed to. We knew there were other countries involved, but we couldn't really lock down what countries and why. We know our own government may have been involved, but we couldn't lock it down. The FBI was surveilling MLK like crazy because they were worried that he was a communist. CSI NSA flagged plans for DC for civil disobedience. There was James O'Rea's cellmates were interviewed, and they suggested a larger conspiracy. Canadian UK tracking of Ray's post-assassination movements. There's just a lot of weird shit. And everybody's pointing to the MLK document dump and then back to JFK and how there's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of missing things that should be obviously there but aren't. And it really, I mean, I'm trying to think. Even up until the former, hold on one second, let me get back to my notes on here. The CIA director Stansfield to testify about this leading up to it. And Stansfield was instructed not to discuss when he was testifying about it, the investigation or what had happened or what they knew, but how to look forward. And if you read that page, it's page, let's see here. Yeah, it's this page right here. Instead, This is the notes leading into this. Instead, our intended focus will be upon what, if anything, now can be done to prevent future assassinations, or should they occur, to respond to them more efficiently. In assisting you, if you desire, in preparing for such a discussion, my staff is prepared to meet with you and your staff in advance to provide an indication of some specific areas that the committee feels may merit specific attention. So even the committee hearings on this and the congressional hearings on this, they were prepping the CIA director for what they were going to say and what they were going to ask, which that to me is disgusting. They had already decided they weren't going to talk about the assassination itself and talk about moving forward. How do we prevent further assassinations, which they didn't really do a good job of, but that's neither here nor there. They found no passport data for the suspect, James O'Reilly, and the assassin who killed Dr. King. It's just, if you have a chance, I can't go into it. I got 10 minutes left. I have another story. But if you have a chance to look into it, it's eye-opening in a way that's also not eye-opening. I mean, it should be more eye-opening. You should be able to say, like, holy shit, but it's really like, oh no, I guess that makes sense. That's just what we were doing at the time, and that's horrible, but it's true. And obviously, the King family was made aware of this 2 weeks ago, and they just urge empathy. And it's got to be, I mean, it's still going to be hard, and I don't care where they fall politically. To have your fathers, your uncles, your loved ones' assassination be so politicized, and then have it be apparently have some dirty pool involved, that's got to be hard. So, I feel for them. Obviously, even all these years later, it's still going to be hard because it's not something that goes away, and it's not something that's allowed to be forgotten, for lack of a better term. So I want to move to California. Oh, and as much as I want to blame all of this on Newsom, I don't necessarily have that information to do that right now. But do you remember the concert? What was it called? The Fire Aid concert, where they raised $100 million for the victims of the Los Angeles fires, the Pacific Palisades fires. Did you know not a dollar of that has ever reached a fire victim? And it's discussed. I got 2 videos here. One's posted by Spencer Pratt, and Spencer Pratt, who's he's a celebrity. He's been in some stuff. I don't know celebrities enough to know exactly what, but I know he's got name notoriety. Has been bringing this to the forefront of people's attention. I give him kudos because this is kind of a big deal. You have a tremendous tragedy that took place down there. All the politics going around with it. The fact that, they haven't started really rebuilding yet, and they're rolling it out. Now they want to add low-income housing to these areas yet. You have all that going on. And then this story pops up where we find out none of the money have gone to any of the victims yet. I'm going to play this news clip first from Fox Local. I think this is down in LA.
I would urge everyone, just go to the nonprofits that are listed. If you want a good laugh, I mean, one of the nonprofits cleans preschool bathrooms. Well, after the fire, who knows? Maybe there is a preschool bathroom that needs cleaning.
Yeah. In other words, a lot of these nonprofits are ancillary.
All right. I was mistaken. I thought this was one pushing for it. I thought it was the commercial for it. No, this is the interview of this exposing a lot of it, and the fact that the money went to nonprofits who are really non-existent,
if you will.
That's a nice way of saying it.
And you urge people, our viewers, they can go on the Fire Aid website, and yes, in terms of if you're Fire Aid, you can say we have listed all the nonprofits. So they've given out $75 million so far, and you can see for yourself each nonprofit that has received money. The vetting process, though, that's an interesting angle to this story as well, because there's still another round of funding that will be given out. If you're a nonprofit, you would just have to fill out a simple, very simple questionnaire. 6 questions.
6 questions. If you are a nonprofit, which there are so many thousands of them right now, in order to get some of this money, and none of it, like I said, none of it's allegedly going to the victims. It's going all to these nonprofits. You just have to answer 6 questions and they'll cut you a check. They've already given out $75 million this way. This money was billed to go directly to victims. It was billed to help the victims if I recall, maybe I'm crazy, but to help victims post-fire, during the rebuild, all the way to the end. That's what this giant concert that raised $100 million was for. And just like all the homeless money in California, just like everything else, it gets funded or funneled through these nonprofits and ends up in the people who run the nonprofits' pockets. Say that 5 times fast.
So what do you make of the vetting process?
I think they're not helping the victims at all. Let's just say, and the other thing you should know, if you go on there, they don't say how much each individual nonprofit gets. So there are 2 nonprofits that are for the homeless people in the Palisades, Los Angeles in general, that they're getting money from LASA. So why are these nonprofits also getting money from FireAid?
I'm going to tell you this, that at some point the books will be entirely opened on Newsom and the homeless grift that happened in California with money being funneled to these nonprofits for the homeless. And you're going to find out what a giant money laundering scheme it was. I am 100% convinced that's going to happen, because all we hear about is how these nonprofits are getting all this money and nothing, zero, zilch is being fucking done with it.
I don't know. They're homeless nonprofits. Of course, we're all homeless now, but
and to be clear, we have reached out to actually the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, to see if this is on his radar, because this is a whole lot of money, and you are well connected in your community, and you don't know anybody who has received FireAid money.
That's correct.
So what is your advice if you're a victim, and there are several who are probably watching tonight who lost their home like yourself? Where do you go from here?
Hopefully with people like you who are bringing it to the attention of America, really, because we have all these people I know in the Midwest where I'm from who said, we want to give money. Where do we give it? How can we help the people? This FireAid money is not helping the people. It's helping nonprofits, many of them who have executives that are getting a 6-figure salary. The money is not going to the victims that you wanted the money to go to.
This is just heartbreaking, and it's disgusting, and it's another sign of all of these organizations that claim to want to do so much for people, like PETA and this FireAid. It's a grift. They get your money. They get all these celebrities. Oh, we're doing it for the people. We're going to help the people. And I'll say what I said when the fires were burning, unfortunately. The firefighters are heroes. The cops that were there were heroes. Anyone who helped was a hero. The people who were going down there with trucks on their own and just giving out items were the heroes. They did more to impact these people than this FireAid has apparently done. And I'm talking about, and we played it on this show, and I know other shows played it. I mean, hot dog vendors loading up in Northern California and Nevada and stuff with food, and then driving down and just setting up and starting to cook and feed people. You saw the video there from Fox 11 where, you had these giant parking lots filled with all of these different donated goods from all over the country, all over the world, to these individual groups that just started it themselves. They're not nonprofits. They don't get to write everything off. And they were setting up with parking lots with boxes and just having people come in and get what they need. They had it organized. Chef Gruel and his wife Lauren, the same thing when they did that with their restaurant, and they were just day after day getting all of this stuff, and then they were just outright donating it, and they found people that were actually getting it to people and not just being stored in a warehouse. This is what happens in tragedy. So the fire was a tragedy. What caused the fire, which is California's lack of ability to maintain forests, was a tragedy. And now what's happened afterwards is a tragedy. The victims are not being treated well by government. They're not being treated well by our state and local government. They're not being treated well by the people that said they were going to help them. And the donors, think what this does to donors for the next tragedy. You think a person who donated some of that $100 million, maybe they a couple thousand, you think they're going to want to just do it again because they know there's a grift like this? I don't think so. And I applaud Spencer Pratt. Look, a lot of people in Hollywood don't say what needs to be said, right? They don't stand up for anything that's right. They have a tendency to just kind of get along to get along because they don't want to lose their job. And Spencer Pratt, hey, I give you a pat on the back, man, because this needed to be happening. This story needed to be brought to everybody's attention because it is truly disgusting that those victims are being treated like this. Folks, that's it for me here on the Edge of Liberty. I'll be back Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. But wait, there's more. Please like and subscribe, support the channel. We're just starting to build. We're just starting to get going. So please be a part of it. Be a part of something great. Like and subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, X, wherever you're watching from. Please like and subscribe. Also, check out our great friends over at KLRN Radio. They are amazing. They're wonderful to us, and we appreciate them. And every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon on the East Coast, you can have Mission Ready Men right here on the SHR Media Network. Tuesday and Thursday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, the bulbous one himself. And every Monday and Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 on the East Coast, you have the Reaver of Common Sense, my friend Jersey Joe. And Sunday nights at 5 p.m., the Cosmic Bard, the Wanderer himself, the Lost Wanderer himself, is here on the SHR Media Network. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I will absolutely see you on the other side Wednesday evening. When I say on the other side, it's not the weekend. I'm just wishing ahead. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.